All right, I'm very excited because today I'm actually going to have a guest on the show. Her name is Joy, and she changes company culture. And I was talking to her about siloing, and I was talking to her about, some of the challenges some of the other companies I deal with have. And she was telling me about something she did specifically and how it works so well the last 90 days. And I'm going to have her share that magic kind of sauce with you today. Get ready to hang out with me and Joy. We're going to live the dream together. Welcome to the next 24 hours, where I'm going to give you real information you can really use to transform your life and work one day at a time. I'll be your host, Curtis Zimmerman. Well, hey, everybody. I hope you're living the dream today. It's Curtis, and I'm excited because we're going to have a special guest on the show today. And I don't do a lot of guests. I like to share stories and share different things. But when I was talking to Joy Van Patten, what happened was I've spoken for her company a couple times, and we were just hanging out and chatting, and she was telling me about something she did specifically to help change the culture. And believe it or not, it was by you know what? I don't want to give it away. I'm gonna just save all the meat and potatoes. But I need for you to know that she's an amazing person. She's the kind of person that will lights up the room. I mean, imagine when your name is Joy, and what you do for a job is organizational development. That's what you do for a job. So basically, your job is to spread joy and a deeper understanding into your organization. And I'm so excited to invite her into the show to give us real tools that maybe you can use where you work. And she's also going to break this kind of paradigm we have about meetings and the value of meetings. All right, everybody, I am so excited to bring Joy onto the program, and I don't mean just Joy to you, but actually Joy Van Patten, and she is an amazing human being and somebody that has real tools that she's going to share with you today to help you with siloing, to help you with communication, and let's just bring her in right now. Joy, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, Curtis.
Hi there. So excited you're able to come and share some really great stuff that you shared with me with all of our listeners today. So will you tell me how you rock them and how you rock your people? You will rock them. That's what I want to get to.
We absolutely do rock them. A little hint of things to come. Because here at Divisions Maintenance Group, we are all rock stars. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And I just completed a world tour of about 60 days across our organization, looking at how we are rocking a new technique that we have implemented called the Daily Huddle. And I've been so excited with the results, and I was excited about the huddle before we did it, and I'm a true believer at this point in time. So it's really made such a difference in what we're all doing. And we just conducted, as we do about every 90 days, an employee engagement, just a little quick check-in survey. And the number one piece of feedback we got on what divisions should keep doing was, believe it or not, the huddle. And I guarantee you we would not have had that result 60 days prior. They would have said, oh my gosh, what is that you're making me do? Another thing taken out of my day. And so we've made believers out of everybody in the organization.
So specifically, can you tell me, what does that look like? What is a huddle for those people listening that, aren't sure exactly the ins and outs of that?
Sure. Well, this is an idea, as you are well aware, I love to steal shamelessly as long as it's has no patent or trademark associated with it. It's mine. And we have been reading and following a book called Scaling Up, whose author is Vern Harnish. And we actually were privileged to go hear Vern live in October. And as an executive team just got together, so, again, what were those key things we learned? And one of the biggest takeaways for us, and it sounds so simple, was this idea of the daily huddle, which Vern will tell you is the most important meeting of your entire day. And it literally is 10 to 15 minutes of coming together, everybody getting in alignment, getting on the same page. And again, it's called the Daily Huddle. And I will just let you in a little secret. We had tried this years ago, and we just didn't have the alignment that we needed. I think our rollout lacked some momentum and getting the buy-in. and it died a slow, painful death. And so we were a little hesitant at this point in time to resurrect something that had previously died. But you know what? Some resurrections are good. And so we got inspired by Vern. We all came together as a team. We said, we know what, we think this can work. And the Daily Huddle was really a key point, and we changed an entire kind of meeting rhythm for the entire organization. And so that led us to a little theme called We Will Rock You. We had all just seen the Bohemian Rhapsody movie together, so inspired by Freddie Mercury. And we said, you know what? Everybody knows the rhythm to We Will Rock You. So we literally opened one of our meetings with the famous don't, chomp, dump, dump, chomp, and made up some fun words. And the new rhythm for divisions was born. And again, we laid that the critical foundational beat of that rhythm change was the huddle. And it really is a 3-point agenda. It's so simple. But again, you just have to be disciplined and committed to it. And we have been, and we are. And we've really changed the trajectory of our organization. And those 3 points quite quickly are, number one, everybody gets together. So everybody in the organization is involved in a daily huddle. I don't care at what level you are involved in it. And some people are involved in 2, but no more than 2. So that's a rule we laid across the organization. So a manager may be involved in their manager huddle with their leader, and then they will in turn conduct a huddle with their direct report. So it's a great way of cascading information up and down the organization. And in that huddle, we just have some key rules. One is every person, and that's a real key, every person shares what their most important priority is over the next 24 hours. And it needs to be detailed. So it's not a recitation of your Outlook calendar. It literally is, in the next 24 hours, my most important priority is whatever that is, who I'm meeting with, why I'm meeting with them, what my expected outcome would be, or what my project is, why it's important, how I'm going to move the needle to what level in that particular day. Then the second component is sharing some daily metrics. So this can either be shared by the team leader itself, sharing that kind of what we call that pulse check, that 1 or 2 key measurable items that really you can trend and offer some level of predictability, or you can go around the room and individuals, especially if they all share kind of the same scoreboard, share their metric where they are. And this has really lent itself to greater amounts and awareness of accountability in the organization. We've seen efficiencies just by sharing that daily metric number. And the third, and one of the most important, and one where our employees have really been a rah-rah, is sharing a roadblock, what Vern calls a constraint. Not that everybody's going to have a roadblock every day, but you as a manager should hear a roadblock from one person at least once a day. If not, you should have several of those in a given week. And just by following that 3-point agenda, we have seen tremendous organizational shifts.
Wow, it's amazing. I love the simplicity of it. I love the idea of everyone getting together for a few minutes and really giving me, where am I today? What are my main rocks I'm working on? And tell me about, real quickly, the impact that's had on other meetings. Because one of the pushbacks I would get when I suggest this to companies is, oh my gosh, we already have so many meetings that to make me go in a meeting every single day for 15 minutes would just be crazy, be a waste of my time. I have meetings all day. Tell me a little bit about what I would say to those people.
And that was absolutely some of the pushback we did receive. And, we had expected to receive it. And we can tell people, well, this is what these studies show, that you will actually, as a manager, receive 2.5 hours of your week back if you implement the Daily Huddle. And we can tell people that, but they really had to live it. And what we found was, by following, and I think the key to that success and them getting what I'll call the meetings cost savings and getting that efficiency, is really sticking to that 3-point agenda. If that meeting, that huddle, becomes just, again, a recitation of people's Outlook calendar, well, dear God, I could have just sent you that, or you have visibility to it via your Outlook on our team calendar. So that would be a total waste of time. But when you truly focus it in on, here's my priority, and it's very specific about the who, what, why, when, where, and then you share a roadblock. Oh my gosh, I as a manager, I'm able to help rearrange, or I can tell you, you know what, someone else is working on that. Why don't you guys get together? Or I'm taking that to a meeting that I'm having with my manager, and you know what, we're going to get that roadblock taken care of today. Bam, you talk about efficiency, because I don't have to then schedule another meeting to say, oh, we're going to work on that. Or you guys, or I didn't know that I could put two of you together because you're both kind of working down the same pathway. It may have taken us a month to discover that. Or it goes into some, if there's a roadblock, it goes into some file somewhere, or I have to wait another month before I'm with the right person to get that done. I am just tasked, and I am now given the leeway to go make that happen for you. And those are the kinds of things that we've seen. Additionally, when you do get together for your weekly or biweekly team meeting, depending upon the other rhythms that you've set in place, you've already covered a lot of ground. So you're able, again, in that meeting to build upon what's already been happening in the huddle. So you're not spending time in some of the minutia that I know can trap teams in those weekly, biweekly meetings.
Wow, I love that. That is such sound advice. So the concept of meeting every morning for 10 or 15 minutes, and then actually that means together as a group, we're going to be holding fewer meetings throughout the week and fewer time spent on these deeper dives because we already know where everyone is. I just love that idea. I also would have to say this reminds me of the general manager at the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas, who I was speaking with, and he told me about every single day for some crazy like 7 or 8 years, he sent out just a short email to everyone at the whole hotel about his expectations for tomorrow and what he's going to be focused on. And because he does it every single day, everywhere he goes, nobody in the whole hotel doesn't know what he's focused on. There's no excuse for not knowing what's going on because he sends you every day kind of where he is. So that's high level, the manager. But I love the idea of being able to do that with the 7 or 8 people that you work with and interact with every day. It brings it down to an every person level. And I love that. One thing I have to say now back to you, Joy, and that is, your personality, your energy, when you walk in a room, you light up the room. And so I have the nuts and bolts now of what a huddle is, if I'm just listening and I don't know. But I have to say there's magic in that kickoff you were talking about and the launch. And would you tell us a little bit about how did you put your giant thumbprint on this program? Because that's what I want people to realize. You can read the book, you can understand the principle, but if you just do it flat, it's going to fall flat. You need to get passionate and you need to bring that to those folks. Tell us how you did that in your crazy way, because I love you have this magic sauce that you bring that I love.
Well, I'm glad you call it the magic sauce. There are others call it some other things, but send me a few phone numbers under the table. Suggesting teasing. We obviously, I shared with you, we had, as an executive team back in October, experienced the magic of the Bohemian Rhapsody experience. And that was actually just on a whim. Vern Harnish, that was one of his favorite movies at the time. And he said, oh my gosh, there's such team bonding and such great elements in that movie. You got to go see it. And so we went and saw it. We're absolutely inspired. That was a great connector for us. But again, just talking about this rhythm and the huddle kind of being the backbeat, which just keeps that thing going. It's just that daily, boom, 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 boom. And we started building other rhythms on top of that and got you thinking about like a musical group. And it's really jazz. Vern would tell you, your cadence is like jazz. There's a little bit of improv, but yet everyone is knowing kind of the essence of where we're going, and there's that backbeat. So we had to keep that backbeat, which is really the daily huddle. And so we knew we wanted to have fun, and we at Divisions, we are no strangers to fun. We love quarterly themes, and we just have a lot of fun as an organization, and we have a lot of passion about what we do. But even with this one, I have to admit, Gary, our CEO, a little nervous about what I was going to do, I think. But I said, I'm willing to try it. What can I do? I'll smile through it if nothing else. And so we really landed on this whole "We Will Rock You" theme, incorporating, the hype of Queen right now and the Bohemian Rhapsody. And again, everybody, I don't care how old you are, you know that song, We Will Rock You. Everybody, you can be in any restaurant gathering and people just start stomping their feet and clapping their hands, and they all know it. So it gets everybody in rhythm. I said, we're going to do that. We have about 300 plus employees. They were all gathered in the room. They had no idea what was going to happen. So Gary was talking about some things with our new theme and new focus. And so I just grabbed the mic and I said, oh, come on, everybody, you all know this rhythm. And everybody was standing up and they started to do it and their smiles started to grow. Well, I had made up some unique words to the song because I can, right? And so in my craziest belting voice, I just began our own little anthem to We Will Rock You. You know, we are divisions and we rule our space, you know, and we will rock you. And then everybody was chanting along. So there was such hype, such momentum. People's faces were shining. I was moving like Phil Donahue all through the audience. It was crazy. And that was our kickoff. And then we immediately implemented the very next day, everybody was in their first huddle. And we'd already had kind of, when you're leaving that meeting, we gave everybody how to conduct an effective huddle, little fun cheat sheets, so everybody knew what to expect. And again, the next day they were on it. And then we also said, Joy's going to go on a 60-day huddle world tour. And this was a lot, but again, they devoted my time to this, and it was so impactful to me. So I literally visited every huddle. I think I hit every single one with maybe one or two, and we have a lot of huddles because, again, they cascade up and down the organization. We have a lot of teams, and I visited every huddle at least twice.
Let me just interject real quickly, because I know you also have this concept of it's not about, it's like me with my keynote. I do the keynote and then people forget about it. No, right. It's about we're launching the huddle and then we're going to keep the through line and we're going to keep people excited. So share with everyone what you bought online and what you had people sign. Again, this is that crazy magic sauce that I'm talking about that makes you so awesome, because it's not about a one and done. It's about you keep feeding your folks. So tell them about that other thing you did.
Well, the other thing we did, because we have a whole group of us that are virtual. We have a lot of us located together here in the Cincinnati area, but we have a whole cadre of employees who are spread coast to coast. And so a way to keep them involved with this. And they were also involved in virtual huddles. So everybody's involved in a huddle. A lot of them we use Workplace Live. Others you could use Skype, whatever, but everybody's involved in the huddle, and that does include our field folks. But one of the ways to keep them involved, because they're not, having me physically come to their office every day and doing a physical touch with them, but I was online with them. So we thought, what can we do again? Bohemian Rhapsody, this is Queen. And we thought, you know what? Freddie Mercury's iconic yellow tour jacket. It just struck a chord with us. And unbeknownst to us at the time, we didn't know that they were so easily accessible, but we quickly found that out, probably secured it through Amazon, and this cool Freddie Mercury jacket. And what we did throughout the 60 days, we highlighted rock stars in our organization. And they didn't know they were going to get it. So this thing would literally show up on their door, on their doorstep. And they would open it and go, what is this? And it was the iconic yellow jacket. And so what they had to do is they had to put the jacket on, and then they had to give us an iconic rock star pose. And then they had to put that up on our intranet for all of the world to see.
Oh, my God.
Congratulate them. Then they got to sign the jacket. So literally, I was on the world tour. The jacket was on its own world tour, and we just got the jacket back, and it is going to be framed in our divisions and then put up in our divisions Hall of Fame. So, wow. It was just, and then for other employees, once each team was cleared, in other words, they got my stamp of approval that huddle was truly rocking it. They also were entered into a drawing, and each team, somebody on that team got to win a pair of noise-canceling headphones. And then we just had our grand drawing this past week, actually, where someone won tickets for them and their guests to go to the rock concert of their choice. So wow. We had a lot of hoopla, a lot of fun. I came online at least every other day, sharing a quick tidbit about the huddles. I stole shamelessly. I encouraged people to make the huddle their own. So everybody had kind of their unique flavor to their huddle, which I made them the star of the show, to quote somebody else I think very highly of. I don't know who that would be, making the star of their show. So I allowed groups to steal shamelessly from other huddles. So there was this idea, we want to have that recognition, make it iconic, make it our own. And so it really helped with some of the team bonding. And it's just been a great thing. As I shared with you at the beginning of this, the number one thing people wanted to keep was keep the huddles. They are seeing so much benefit every day to their work life of the impact of these huddles. It's just been beyond. And you know what? We talk about tools, and this is just one. Literally, people can get off this podcast and go implement this huddle. It really is that easy. And it doesn't cost you anything. You already have the tools. Everybody has a phone line, I guarantee you. Everybody has a place they can stand up. And it's just a matter of just doing it. And it makes such a huge difference in moving the needle forward for your organization on all fronts, whether it's your operational effectiveness, your employee engagement, communication, bam, it's done. It will rock your organization.
Wow. And I just, Joy, the reason I really wanted you to be on the next 24 hours is a couple things that you said were so important. And everybody wants to make it so difficult. Everybody wants to make it outside of my office. Everybody wants to make it about the culture. And you demystified all of that. You made it very easy to understand. You made it really fun. You made me want to think about these three questions consistently as an organization and an individual that makes me drive the company and the bottom line all together as a group. And it's very, very doable. But I also want to encourage people to hear something else that Joy talked about, and that was that she took a risk. She took a theme and she ran with it, and it could have fall flat, and then she would smile and do something else. And so many people I see are afraid to take that initial risk, get passionate, get excited, just follow through on something that's kind of out there and a little crazy and sending this jacket around. But that really is the tipping point. That really is the thing that takes it over the top to get people excited. So you are an inspiration to me and to some of the other people I know listening that have those kinds of jobs, that it's their responsibility to get people in action in a new way. And right. I want them to hear your story, to take a risk. And if you would close with us today and just tell us, well, first off, I wanted to just say, obviously you brought me in to speak with divisions years ago, and then you invited me to a conference where you had me come and speak to the whole conference, and I was kind of a guest of yours for the conference as a gift. And so obviously you're crazy enough to hire the juggling, fire eating, living your life at performance level, live the dream guy. But that is not just me. It goes to show it's a culture that you're developing through all the things you do. So Can you just tell me a little bit about anyone that's listening that's afraid to take that risk, the why it's so important they do it?
We could have easily handed out a sheet that said, here are the 3 key points of an effective huddle. This is implemented effective tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. We expect everyone to drop what they're doing and be in their huddle, and you will learn, and we will share these key performance. And if you don't, you will be against company blah, blah, blah policy and written up and sent to jail. I don't know.
Yes.
You'll be written up, right? You are non-conforming. And, so many things I think get rolled out that way. And, you have a choice. It can be rolled out that way, and it will get you one set of results. I will tell you, not the results you really want long term. Or, you know what? You can go and you can have some fun, and you can get people engaged. You can get them thinking in a different way. And, when people would call me like, Joy, when is your tour coming? When is your tour coming? Because they knew it was going to be fun. It wasn't going to be threatening. We were going to coach, but yet, it was going to be treated with fun, and they wanted to have their shout out, right? And we even were laughing. I said, yeah, we're going to have some little huddle cuddles, because you can't just say huddle, right? And so somebody else that wouldn't work for me, it kind of does. And we have a lot of young guys working for us. So I'm coming and saying, how's your huddle cuddle going today? They just crack up laughing, or we will rock you, and all these other little things we talked about. But you got to make it fun. You got to touch people where they are. And I do believe work should be fun. And that's how people learn. You give them something not necessarily related to a huddle. What does, Bohemian Rhapsody, Freddie Mercury's Yellow Jacket, and We Will Rock You have to do with a huddle, the 3 points? Not a whole lot. But at the end of the day, it had a whole lot to do with our culture and moving this thing forward and everyone adapting to it quite readily. And then, we made it so much fun, so much engaging. People wanted to play. They couldn't wait for the huddle. They couldn't wait for their coaching. They couldn't wait for the sign off. They couldn't wait to see who's going to get the yellow jacket next. And I believe that's why people said we want the huddle to continue. They saw really, really great things happening around them. Who wouldn't want to be a part of that? And they just joined. They just joined. And so risk taking, I've taken risks throughout my entire career. And, bringing you, like you talked about, when we brought you with us to that large conference, that was a risk. We didn't talk about our service offerings 1 ounce. We're like, let's bring Curtis up there, talk about juggling and living life at performance level and living their dream and touch people in their heart. And you know what? We've just never veered from that. I think when you touch people in their heart, you give them a part to play. And I think that's so critical to your message. And they knew this was a vital part they had to play. The huddle wasn't be successful without them coming up and taking a role. When they see someone else taking a risk, it makes it so much easier for them to take the risk and change their behavior.
Wow. I am just so privileged to call you friend and to, be able to glean things from you and share some of my things with your group as well. And just want to thank you from all of our listeners for joining us today and to give us, the whole concept of being a rock star. And I talk about it in my program about casting your show wisely. And I want you to be a rock star, and that it isn't selfish. The reason I want you to be a rock star is you can't give away what you don't possess. And if you want the other people you work with to be rock stars, well, first you have to do that for yourself. And I think that you said that brilliantly today as well. And I know it's been valuable time, and I just look forward to seeing you again. Keep up the great work and make the next 24 hours count wherever you are. It's so funny because you have this idea in your head when you're doing a podcast. What do you want to call it? What outcomes do you want? And the next 24 hours is the name of this podcast because I wanted to be specific with people on here's the content and now go use it in the real world. And the reason I wanted to bring Joy on is I want you to understand the big 10,000 feet picture. And that is this. The concept of getting everyone in a room for 15 minutes every morning and kind of telling us what are your challenges and what are you working on and sharing that's not new, okay? But the challenge is to take something that works and make it relevant and make it in today's world usable and make your people get excited about it. That's the secret sauce. That's the stuff I want you to think about in your own life. So I want you to think about the next 24 hours. Who are you going to have a huddle with? Is it going to be your spouse? Is it going to be your kids? Is it going to be your team at work? And how are you going to implement that in the next 24 hours and be specific with 2 or 3 things? We do a meeting here every week here at the Curtis Zimmerman Group, and we always start with our win. What's a win? What's something that in the last month or so, maybe it's not at work, maybe it's with your kids, maybe it's with self-development, maybe it's something that you've been working on that was a challenge, but we go around the circle and we all talk about something that we feel really good about and it was a win. And I would challenge you to start your next meeting, to start your next interaction with somebody, sharing that win, and do it in the next 24 hours, and then think about how can you do it more often. So you may not be in a situation where you're going to do it every single day, but do it in the next 24 hours, see what kind of outcome happens, and then think about a real way you can implement it more often. Keep living the dream. Hey, thank you for listening to the next 24 hours. I want to know, do you want to live the dream? Because if you do, all you have to do is go to curtiszimmerman.com, click on Want to Live the Dream, and I'm going to send you out an official Living the Dream wristband as a gift. Remember, in order to live the dream, you have to make the next 24 hours count. The clock is ticking.